This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we're talking with Gwendolyn D. Saffo. Welcome, Gwendolyn D.
Thank you.
And she is from representing the League of Women Voters, and we're going to be talking about voting today, which is so very, very, very important, especially 2024. We have a lot going on, and we are going to inform and hopefully educate you about some voting issues, okay? But first of all, I'm going to give credit to the people who are responsible for providing this institution. It's not an institution, but this podcast room. Campus USA Credit Union is one of my sponsors for an upcoming event that we will be talking about in a few minutes. It's going to be the celebration of my 86th birthday, which is a fundraiser to raise money for the Rosewood Museum that we are going to install or create or build. We're going to build it in Archer, on the property where the Rosewood school teacher was born and raised, along with my mom and my grandparents. So other sponsors for this event are Meldon Law, Spurrier's, Tower Hill Insurance, R.E. Arnold Construction, Coca-Cola, Asala, the International Juneteenth Foundation, Anna, Prizzy, Jen Garrett, and many more. Okay, so what we are going to do today, what I'm going to do right now, introduce you to Gwen, or reintroduce you to Gwen. And Gwen is going to talk to us and tell us about her position with the League of Women Voters, which is an outstanding organization for years. So Gwen, it's your time.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it. I do represent the League of Women Voters. I am currently serving as the vice president of the League.
Absolutely.
I have been a member since 2019, and just thought it was a very good organization to become actively involved in.
Exactly, and I have been members like more than 30 years. However, inactive, okay, for almost that long, but I do pay, okay, because I appreciate what it represents, and I'm glad you are a paid member and you are the vice president. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you are doing an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask you, and I don't have to ask you, but give us some points about the deadline for registration. I think that has passed. But anyway, tell us about absentee ballot and the voting dates.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, the deadline for registering has passed for this election, which
Yes.
was October 7th.
Yes.
But of course, we say you can register anytime. Anytime is a good time to register to vote.
Okay.
So that can continue. And as far as absentee balloting goes, you have 12 days before the election to actually request your ballot if you haven't done that.
Okay.
Now, most of us who do vote by absentee ballot or vote by mail, as it's called now,
Yes.
have already received our ballot.
Yes, I have to.
Yes,
Yes.
and I make sure that I get an absentee ballot just in case I can't get there on the day of voting
Exactly.
and doing other things, trying to get other people there. But you have 12 days before in order to request that. So if you haven't done that, that would be the thing to do right away, because you want to get that taken care of, and you want to, at this point, I wouldn't even say mail it in. You want to take it in and make sure that your vote is counted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I live out in Archer, and I am the precinct chair, which is precinct 11. And what I usually do, my main reason for getting absentee ballot or mail-in ballot, it's because during that time, that day, I make sure I spend my time at that station, at the polling station, helping people. And when I say people, doesn't matter, answering questions for
Right.
anybody. It doesn't matter the party they belong to. I'm there to help the people, because voting is important, and we know that because that was drilled. And when I
That was
say
drilled in us,
it was
yes.
drilled in us. Mama would tell us, would ask us, what are you living for if you're not going to vote? Which
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
Okay, who are you? People don't know you. If you don't play that part of being a citizen, a strong citizen to vote and
It's your civic responsibility,
Civic
and
responsibility.
people lost their lives in
their lives.
order for the right to vote. So it's important that we're there. And I understand what you're saying about the day of, because we want to help as many people as we can to make sure that they get to the polls and
Right.
all of those things. The league is a nonpartisan organization
right.
as well, but so our goal is to just make sure that people are registered, that they are educated, and that they know what's on their ballots and so forth.
Exactly. And when you say nonpartisan, I picked up some flyers this morning, nonpartisan flyers from the League of Women Voters, and you probably have it too. But you can show yours. I can't find the front of mine. This is the back.
This is the front of the one. This is for the state. So this voter
Yes.
guide comes from the state, and
Yes.
it talks about the individuals or the candidates for state, and then it also talks about the amendments, the state
Exactly.
amendments.
Exactly.
And then we have another one that's local, which we know all politics is local, right?
Right,
So
right.
it's very important to know about your local elections. So that's what this is. So
Yes.
inside it tells you who's running for office, and they have we had questions that we presented to them, and they answer those questions. And so that's why this is such a good educational tool, because
It
it
is.
tells you about the candidates, and it tells you where they stand on the issues and whether they stand where you stand on the issues, so you can make that informed decision.
Exactly.
And the same thing for the amendments. So it
Exactly.
tells you, because sometimes it's hard to follow what those amendments are saying. So you think it's saying one thing, it's saying something else. But we've done our research, so we are able to take that apart and to tell you what it is to support it and what it is not to support it, and then you can decide how you want to vote
I
on it.
love the education for the amendments, because my nieces, nephews, cousin, they call and said, Auntie, we don't know anything about these amendments. We're not going to vote for them. I said, oh, yes. Give Auntie a minute. I'll get that information to you. So because of you all have done your homework, the League of Women Voters, I can give them an answer,
And
the correct,
Exactly.
okay?
And I've been passing these out. We have over 2,500 that we're
Yes.
getting out in the community of the state and the local. And I took 600 so that I can get them out. And that's what I've been doing, making sure
Right.
that people have that. And I love what you say about your nieces and nephews, because
Yes.
the thing that I do is I go on each website, local supervisor of elections website. I'd ask them, I say, are you registered? Did you vote? Okay, well, let me check to make sure that you did and that you are truly registered. I say,
Exactly.
it doesn't show that you're registered. Maybe you need to check that
I
again.
know.
And
I
they're
know.
like, oh my goodness, Auntie. It's all. So,
I get
you
the
know,
same
I
message.
have, like I say, if I'm going to be out here saying you need to register, I want to make sure my family is registered, my family is voting
Exactly.
and is informed. So that's what I'm all about until this,
Checkmate.
yeah,
I do the
exactly.
same thing because I do it at my church. And I was talking this 3 or 4 years ago to a church member, and he, oh yeah, I voted. I said, well, I have access to the van. I'll go home and I'll check, and I can. Well, now you know what? Cause maybe I didn't vote the last time. Okay, checkmate, and I make sure they vote because they make sure they
Yeah,
follow up with me
yeah.
because they realize we can check behind them. And I like it when you say you go
I go on
on the
each
website.
and I go on each one wherever they are, whatever
Okay.
county they're in, and I
Exactly.
say and I check or I check with I help my I'm the youngest in the family, so I
Yes.
help my sisters and brothers also and say are you sure you requested your vote by mail? Let's go on and see. Let's see what you need to do and make sure. And because again, got to have some responsibility, and I feel responsible for making sure everybody else is informed. And then I say, and if you want to know my opinion, I'll give it. But I'm going to
Yes.
give you the information so that
Yes.
you can make that decision. So I'm not trying to make your decision for you,
Yes.
but you
Yes.
need to know because your vote matters. And
Exactly.
it bothers me when people say it doesn't matter if I vote or not. Yes, it
Yes, it
does. There have
does.
been too many close elections that it
Right.
actually does happen.
Right.
That if you don't vote,
Right.
you
Right.
could have made that difference. So don't be the
Exactly.
one that didn't make the
Exactly.
difference.
Exactly.
So your decision as to how you're going to vote, but I want to make sure you vote.
Exactly. And I met a lady Saturday, old lady. She was much younger, like 10 years ago. And each voting period, she would call me. So when I saw her Saturday, she said, well, Liz, I don't guess I'll be voting this year because I don't have anybody to help me make my selection. I said, hold it 1 minute. I went to my car because I had just picked up a form, not a form, a record with the pictures and everything, and that's not the correct name. But anyway, it was a voting ballot suggestion list. What is that called? But anyway, I took it to
Sample
her.
ballot.
The biggest smile came over her face, and she said, how can I send this to my friends and my children and grandchildren? I said to her, take a picture of it on your camera and I don't know how to do that. I said, get your grandkids, they know how. And she left very happy because it
Good,
was like
good.
life came back, voting life.
Right.
Because she had voted all of her life.
Right.
But because she was old, she thought, well, I'm not going to vote this year. But I made her
All
day.
important. That's good. That's
Yes.
good. And and that brings you to Vote 411. So vote411.org, it takes you to a particular website. And when you get to that website, if you put in your address, the sample ballots is generic and it kind of gives a
Yes.
broad view. But if you put in your address on that vote411.org, your actual ballot comes up. The candidates in your area, the amendments, the judges, all those things that are happening at your particular address, and then that way you know what's going to be on the ballot before you receive it. And you can go ahead and fill that out, take that in with you, so that you don't have to be standing there thinking or trying to determine what you're going to do
Right.
when if you go to the polls. But
Right.
either way you have that, and that's what's so good about Vote 411. So the vote411.org is the same as what's in this,
the local.
in either one of these.
Okay. Okay.
But it tells you specifically what's on your personal ballot.
Okay, did you all hear that? Vote411.org. Go there. And it will tell you, here it is right here. I don't have mine on. I don't know if I have one. But anyway, vote411.org.
.org.
That's very, very important. Okay, and I'm going to do that when I go home. And as you said, when we don't want to read, Auntie, tell me who to vote for. I don't know any of these people. I said, well, read it. Well, I don't have time to read. They don't want to read. Who are you going to vote for? I don't always want to, but rather than have them not vote,
Right.
I will give
Right.
them
And,
suggestions.
and in our, in our various capacities, just like in our organizations, our
Yes.
sororities, Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta,
Yeah.
we are all nonpartisan. League
Yes.
isn't, but so we don't tell you how to vote. But if
Right.
you ask me personally,
Yes.
then
Yes.
then
Yes.
I can provide that. I can tell you how I'm voting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know you people who are looking at me, I know why. I know you know why I am wearing my pearls today.
Yes.
Okay. You didn't hear that because I am I'm nonpartisan. I can't say that. But anyway, pearls for the girls. And you all wear pearls too. We all
Yes,
wear pearls.
we all wear pearls.
We have always worn pearls. Each of the sororities.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's something that's ingrained in us, I think,
I
from
know.
way back. Because when African American people voted, we dress up and go to the
Hats,
polls.
remember?
Yes, and
Just like we were going to church.
just like going to church, it was very important.
Yes, the pearls, we've always worn pearls. Too.
Yes.
Yeah, pearls for the girls.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Okay, how was
That's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida
and America's Black History, and you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Gwendolyn D. Saffo. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. So, Queen Lizzie is back, okay? And as I said to you earlier, we will be celebrating Queen Lizzie's 86th birthday here at, where are we? Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the Visors rooftop. Okay, you must, if you haven't purchased your ticket, you must purchase your ticket. It's going to be fun. We're going to raise money, but we're going to enjoy ourselves, okay? We have lots of good food. We have a cash bar. We have music by Elio Piedra. Okay, he will be here, and this is a shout out to him. After 13 years, he finally got his own radio station. Check him out at 95.7, or is it 75.9? You'll find him. His name is Ilio. He is going to be here live with music. Did I say it right?
I think it's 97.5 2 Fiesta.
97.5
2 Fiesta Radio.
2 Fiesta Radio. Thank you. Hello out there, Ilio. Ilio is my good friend. But anyway, with your tickets, you will get, if you are a sponsor, $1,000, $2,000 sponsor, you will get 4 tickets. A $500 sponsor, 2 tickets, and a $100 sponsor will get $150 sponsor will get 1 ticket. So just come out and enjoy yourself. Rosewood means a lot to me. I was involved in the history telling by my mom when I was like 5 years old. I had no idea what she was talking about the first time she sat her children down and said, "Mama gonna tell y'all, sit on the settee," just like that. Sat on the settee. Mama's going to tell you a story about the Rosewood Massacre. At age 5, what came to my mind was Rosewood, roses in the woods. Had no idea what massacre meant, but over the years we talked, just the two of us. My sister was 11 at the time. My 2 brothers, 7 and 9. They didn't want to hear anything about Rosewood, but for some reason it attached itself to me, and now I know why the story needed to be told, because her sister was damaged mentally, okay, and for the rest of her life she suffered the agony of defeat. Mom said, it's history, you must keep it alive so that it will not repeat, and I know you are aware of history repeating, and what I'm trying to do, leave it for the next generation, our grands and great-grandchildren, everybody's kids who would like to see us move from negative to positive. And I always tell the story very positive. My mom wrote a song when I started talking about Rosewood, and I'm going to sing you. I'm not a singer, but I'm going to share with you a couple of verses that she wrote that really, really moved me, and it moves the people that listen to what she had to say about the Rosewood, what she had to say about the people who helped us, helped the black people survive. And it goes like this, because it started in Cedar Key, the rescue. And the song says, my mom said, the Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with a lantern, its young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plans, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock. Oh, Lord. Inform the train conductors just when and where to stop. Pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. Bob Walker and John Wright took on a daring risk. Put the survivors on the train, Lord, and sent them off with a kiss. Notified the Gainesville families to be on the lookout for their kin. Told them the train was coming and told them exactly when. And this is what my mom saw in the goodness, the humanitarian side of the train conductors, the Bryce brothers, and the store owner and the sheriff. Had it not been for the sheriff, many more would have suffered. So there were 5 deaths as far as I have been able to research and find. But 5 is too many. And the houses were completely destroyed, burned down. After the people that caused the riots, they made sure they burglarized the houses and took everything, with the exception of my aunt's house, because the sheriff was there when he had returned, and he said, don't touch that house. The one thing he thought he could do for her, he didn't know her, he knew of her, he knew she was the teacher, was to rescue some of her items. And that he did, and that is why today we have a few real items from Rosewood. So the story goes on and on and on, and it touches my heart, because I know what I'm doing is for my mother, and she is smiling down on me, hopefully. And again, remember the party that is going to remember the history, the fundraising party. So Gwen, as I was about to say, what else I need to say, or what else do you need to say? Would you like to say?
Let me tell you a little bit about the league.
Okay.
And really my involvement.
Perfect.
So really, as I continue to work with the league, it's my hope on increasing partnerships and
Yes.
collaborations, because I think that when we have partnerships, we get more done,
Yes.
rather than working in silos. When we each want to work as individuals or individual organizations, we accomplish some things. But when we work together, we can make a
accomplish
bigger
more.
impact. So it's about collaboration and diversity, voter registration, voter education, mobilizing.
Yes.
Mobilizing. I'm in an organization called Meet and Mobilize as well, and that's to mobilize all nonpartisan organizations together to talk about that. And the League of Women Voters is, as I said, a nonpartisan organization, but we encourage informed and active participation of the citizen and we want to make sure that people are educated and that they understand. The league was started back in 1920,
Okay.
and the before that, remember the women's suffrage march. And I'll tell you,
course.
one of my connections with that was the very first thing that my organization, Delta Sigma Theta, took a part in, was the women's suffrage march, which was on March 3rd of 1913.
Yes.
And so, that's why we've been built on that, and that's where my passion comes from, just what was instilled in me as a child and growing up, and what I needed to do and being involved in my community. And then through Delta and through the League, I become more involved. So the League is really a grassroots organization.
It is.
And but we don't typically take action or take a stance on issues and such. But if we do, we research those, and then we get the buy-in of the organization, of the membership, as to whether we're going to support it or not. So some of the amendments that are currently on the ballot, we have taken a stance on, but we research that and we advocate. Again, we're not telling you how you should, but we're telling you what the league recommends. So again, when you go to Vote 411 or when you go into this guide, you'll find the recommendations of the league there as well. So.
Exactly. And like you talked about in 1913, I have read about your soror, Dr. Bethune, and my soror, Zora Neale Hurston.
Yes.
They were out there in the Renaissance. What is it called? Harlem Renaissance. They have been out there working for us long before we knew who we were. And that's why we have to continue to uplift those principles and keep what they were doing alive, because they were out there and it was daredevil time, but they took the risk, because the KKK was very powerful back then, and they were very intimidated, but they kept moving forward.
That's why it's so important when you think about what all those people did, our ancestors did before us. How can we not feel like we're responsible for carrying that on?
Exactly.
We have to be the ones to carry that on, and we have to make sure. So the one thing I don't want you to say to me is when you say my vote don't matter, my vote don't count.
Exactly.
And it does. It really does. I have to keep
does.
saying that, because that is so important. And I'll tell you a quick story. I'm a mentor for Take Stock in Children.
Yes.
And my mentee just turned 18.
Okay.
And she's a new voter. And I'm just so proud of that. And I was like, are you going to? Because I couldn't really tell her to do what, these things. So she's a new voter, and that excited me as well. And she understood that her vote mattered. She told me when she talked to me, I was very, very happy with what she had to say. And she's going to be voting in this election for the first time, and it's a historic election. So that's the other thing. When you're 16 years old, you can pre-register.
Exactly.
And when you're 18, you actually receive your voter registration card.
Exactly. Well, I'm happy for her too. I don't know her, but I am happy for her. This is the beginning, and I hope she brings with her friends.
I hope so too. I told her the importance, and she told me the importance, so that was good.
Yes, and I just want to go back to, before we close down, Steve Spurrier, please come out and support the best brunch on earth in Alachua County. Is the brunch here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, weekends on Saturday, Sunday from 11 to 3. Please patronize, because Steve Spurrier supports Rosewood. And if you haven't seen his, He Made of Me? What is it called? But anyway, It's a story that he has on TV. Go there and watch it. He's talking about me, which really blew my mind. I had nothing to do with it, but when I saw it, it says a lot about who he is. And I guess a lot about me too. I know I'm proud. But anyway, I was on radio this morning. Sky Radio with Bob Ross this morning. Listen to that. In a few minutes, I will be doing another radio show for our upcoming event. It's all about saving and preserving the history of Rosewood, the Black history. And Mom said when we reserve Black history, we are preserving America's history, because history is who we are. Without history, we are nothing, and we are going to have to continue to support Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and bless Freddie. Freddie is awesome. Freddie Weeby, awesome. He is the person in charge of this project for me. Thanks to him, Meldon Law, for your support. Meldon has all of the money in the world, and he doesn't want me to say this, but he is very, very helpful here at the University of Florida. And I thank the University of Florida, too, the girls' basketball team. And by the way, the girls' first basketball game is November 4th, so get your tickets for that, too. We are a community, and we are growing and building together. With this said, I'm going to give you the last words. If it's anything else you need to say or want to say, you have my permission.
Thank
to close
you.
it.
Thank you so much. Well, I just want to say that the early voting dates start on October 21st and goes through November 12th. And the day, the big day, election day, is November 5th.
Perfect.
Keep November 5th in mind, because that's the important date that we all need to make sure, if we haven't done vote by mail or early voting, that's our day to go to our own polling places, our own precinct, and make sure that we vote.
What time?
It's open at 7. It goes from 7 to 7. And if you're in line at 7, you will have the opportunity to vote. If you're in line at 7 p.m., you have the opportunity to vote. So make sure you get your vote in. One way or another, just vote, please.
It is critical.
It is absolutely
that
critical.
We vote. Everybody. My great-grandmother, the one thing she wanted to do, born in 1826, enslaved, walked to Archer, Florida. The two things she wanted more to do, learn to read and vote, and she was denied both. So each time I vote, I say, "This is for you, Grandma Julian." Every time I vote, because she wanted to vote. But as our Gwen, my guest, said, 7 to 7, the polls are open. So be there. If you need a ride, call me, 352-214-6003. We got you. Okay. All right. I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. I am Queen Lizzie. Until next time, this is my Rosewood story, and I'm sticking to it. Goodbye.